Now we shall be crossing over to Diani, where the Connected Summit 2023 is currently underway. Remember, it is dubbed Digital Economy and Less Opportunities Shaping Our Future. And our reporter O'Brien Kimani is currently on standby. O'Brien, kindly give us a detailed report.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Jacqueline Wambiru, back there in Broadcasting House. As you can see here, I'm surrounded by the public sector's top minds when it comes to the ICT as well as digital matters and broadcasting as well. And we just want to recap on what has just happened. Remember, the 2023 Connected Summit has just happened. And of course, a lot of reactions, are coming through, and of course, policy issues. And those are the issues that we want to discuss here and see what exactly are we taking this country in terms of ICT. Well, joining me on the set is Information, Communication and the Digital Economy CS. He's going to guide us through this process and, of course, as we find out more on what is happening. Thank you very much indeed, Bona CS, for joining us. You really talked about the collaboration between the public and the private sector in driving digitization as well as digitalization of government services. Would you want to expound further on that?
Yeah, first of all, first of all, before I get to that, let me explain the rationale of this summit. We are gathered here for the 12th edition of the Connected Summit as members of the ICT fraternity to take stock of what we have achieved so far. Look at the challenges that we have faced and the strategic issues emanating from those challenges, the gaps that we have witnessed, and discuss what we need to do to close those gaps, the lessons that we have learned, and how those lessons can inform our planning framework moving forward, the critical success factors moving forward, and what our areas of focus should be as an ICT sector. This is the 12th edition of this summit, and the propositions, resolutions and action points emanating from this summit will go a long way in enriching our policy framework and agenda moving forward. Yes.
Very
now,
good.
This summit is part and parcel of a process through which we bring both the ministry and the private sector to think together. It is integral that as government we work in partnership with the private sector. Almost all the programs and activities that we intend to roll out in the ICT sector will be undertaken through a partnership between the public sector and the private sector. And it is in this regard that we have got a critical stakeholder segment from the private sector in this forum. Yes.
Do we have any defined role what the private sector will do vis-a-vis the public sector?
Well, starting with the digital superhighway, which is a thematic area in our Kenya Kwanza plan, we intend to roll out 100,000 kilometers of fiber optic cable. As government, we are only doing 52% of that. The private sector, we envisage, will do the remaining 48%. We have already sat down with the private sector as government and agreed on who is playing what role as far as implementation of the digital superhighway is concerned, with clear responsibility centers, clear expected outputs, clear outcomes, and clear targets. So we are very clear on who needs to play what role as far as the digital superhighway is concerned. Yeah.
And some of these projects that you are planning to undertake, they will require legislative reforms and as well as policy reforms. Yes. Who are you engaging in this journey?
The starting point is here. That's exactly what we are doing. We are taking stock of emerging issues in the operational environment based on recent changes. We are operating in a very dynamic operational environment. That dynamism in the operational environment will necessitate that, depending on unfolding trends from time to time, we look at our policies and legislative agenda. Where we have got laws, but those laws have become obsolete, we need to review them. Where we have got policies which are becoming redundant, we need to review the policies. Where there are emerging issues that may necessitate that we come up with new policies and legislative reforms, we will do that. And that is why in this very forum, we have got representation from the Parliament, both the National Assembly and the Senate, so that if there are emerging issues that will require legislative reforms, then we work in partnership with Parliament as an integral stakeholder to ensure that those laws are put in place.
Okay, and what about, before I let you go, what is the role of the county government in this? Because they are supposed to be the catalyst of economic and social growth at the micro level.
Let me mention from the onset that there is nothing we will be doing as government which we will not be implementing in a given county. The Constitution is very clear that as much as we have got two levels of government, there has to be collaboration and partnership between those two levels of government. As we embark on the process of digitization of records and digitalization of services, correspondingly, we need to see the same taking place at the levels of the county government. That is why we have already had a forum last week with the ICT Committee of the Council of Governors to look at ways and means through which we can synergize and facilitate effective alignment between the interventions we are introducing at the national government level and what correspondingly they need to do at the county government level, so that we have got a seamless transition from manual processes to digitalized services across the entire country.
Very good. And as Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, we are just here, and of course we are here in the long term to ensure that all this information is forwarded to the public, and of course the exposure that this information needs is definitely broadcasted to the public.
Effective communication is a critical success factor in whatever we are doing. We must constantly communicate to the public so that they understand what we are doing and why, and the progress that we are making. So we will be looking forward also to partnering with you people in the communication space so that you disseminate the activities and programs and the outputs that we are achieving depending on unfolding events from time and as time progresses.
Very good. Thank you very much, Bwana CS, for joining us here.
Thank you too. It was indeed my pleasure.
Thank you.
And thanks a lot also to the team that we have here. We have got the PS ICT, Engineer John Tanui. We have the PS Communication, Professor Edward Kisangani. We have got the Chair of the ICT Committee of Parliament, John Kiare. We have got the Chairman of ICTA, Mr. Honorable Maritim. We have the CEO of ICTA here, Stanley Kamanguya, and also the Acting CEO of KONZA, Mr. Okwiri. We are all working together to facilitate and pursue this to a logical conclusion.
Very good. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thank you.
Very good. I mean, you have heard it all from the policymakers at the top level in government. The future of ICT in this country must be said to be green. It must be said to be beautiful. It must be said to be great going forward. And we have just heard it from the CS in charge of information communication as well as the digital economy, joining us here live on KBC so that he can help us understand where are we going as a country in matters ICT as well as the digital economy. My name is O'Brien Kimani. I'm taking you back to Broadcasting House, where Jacqueline Wambiru will continue with the rest of the bulletin.
Well, thank you so much, O'Brien Kimani there.